Friends, this is the fun part for me. To round it off by talking about prizes, plural. I was going to go up here and talk about one prize, but I got to talk about two. Because I'm very happy to tell you all that while our friend Klaus Meyer was talking to us, I was notified that this afternoon he was given 1 Michelin star for his Grand Central enterprise. So, after only 4 months, my understudy says here. I think that's very impressive. 4 months in New York City, and with the kind of venture that he started, he picks up a Michelin star. What I was really going to go up here and say before I got that nice message was that for 9 years in a row now, we've had something called the SACC New York Deloitte Green Award. That is something sponsored by Deloitte together with SACC New York. Every year, we look at the host of nominated companies, and this year we had 33 or 34 companies nominated for the award. What we're looking for is a Swedish company, entrepreneurial, importantly with a unique invention, something that's not just taking something existing and take it further, but really a new, unique invention. Secondly, that this invention is ready to market. It's not a prototype, it's not an experimental model, it's ready to ship and so sell and ship. And thirdly, that the US is an important market for this entrepreneurial company. And as I said, we had over 30 companies, we looked at them. The jury consisted of Lotta Boman, who works for a company in Sweden called Intellecta. There was Börje Ekholm of Patricia Industries, and there was Andres Masetic of Deloitte Sweden, and yours truly. And after having looked at these 33 on paper, we met with the 4 selected finalists for a full day, grilled them, they presented, they answered our tough questions, and then we sat down in the evening and we arrived at a winner. So I'd like to invite the winner up here, and if I get the next slide, you can see what it was last night at the award ceremony. We have Deloitte, we got myself, Lotta Boman, we have our president, we have Mr. Pagrotsky, and we have our friends from Just Common Sense. And here is Bengt to tell you all about what he's doing and why we thought it was worth this year's award. Bengt Merkel.
Well, let me first of all say that we are very honored to get this prize. I think that cannot be said too few times. And Jonas and I are both here. For your information, Jonas is up there, and he is the inventor of the machine. And yeah, let's get into this. See how this works now. That's better. Okay, when you look at the basics for this machine, we looked at the business critical problem, which is basically that you have a lot of weed when you farm. And of course, normally in regular conventional farming, you handle this by taking in chemicals and things like that. But so we started. Jonas is an ecological farmer, so of course he didn't use any chemical at all when this machine was invented. So of course, when you have a lot of weed, you have high cost to control the weed, and this also results in lower yields of your crop. And of course, you also have to dry, you put more emphasis into drying the yield when you get it in, because you have a lot of other things in it with the weed. But then you can look upon it also from the conventional side of farming, that when you have a lot of weed, you have to use more and more herbicides. And the herbicides cost money. And what's happening now is that we get more and more weed that is actually resistant to herbicides. So what's happening now is that they come out with new herbicides, and then they have to GMO modify the crop that we're growing, so it can take the new herbicides that's coming out, and we're in a bad spiral. So we know that weed is threatening to destroy a lot of land area for us. And of course, this problem with herbicide-resistant weed is getting worse and worse. And really, there hasn't been no solution to this problem until now. And this is the simple solution. This is the machine called comb cut. So it's actually a machine that you just put in front or behind the tractor. You just attach it as any tool that you put on a tractor. And you can use this directly on your tractor. So how does it work? Well, it's very, very simple. You actually comb down in the growing crop, and this machine will cut the weed but save the crop. Now this sounds very magical, right? But it's really, really simple. It works on the fact that there is a physical difference in the straw between the weed and the crop. In most cases, the straw of the weed is stiffer or thicker. So that's what the machine senses and takes care of. So this is a very easy and economical way to solve a very complicated problem. So this machine has also been verified scientifically by SLU in Sweden and also tests in Norway. We have ongoing tests right now under what's called OSCAR, which is an EU sort of project going on where our machine is tested. We have it also tested in Germany by some different universities and institutions. Canada, we have some machines. University of Saskatchewan has tested one this year. And it's also tested in Lacombe, Alberta, by Agriculture and Agri-Food. And we have one machine, I think, on its way now also to the university in Manitoba. So if we take some milestones of our company, the first prototype that Jonas tested in reality was in 2006. This same year, we got the first prize for this machine, which was the Environment Innovation of the Year in Sweden, actually, Miljöinnovation. And also, Jonas got his patent for this selective weed cutter. He got that sent in. And in 2009, he formed the company Just Common Sense. And then also the serial production started of the first comb cut machines that was sold in Scandinavia. And actually first in Sweden and then also in Finland and some other countries. And this year also the SLU started their tests of the machine. In 2010 the interest started in Finland and Denmark, and this machine was also mentioned in something called the Blue Economy Book as a very interesting machine for the future. In 2011, we came out with an 8-meter model of the machine, and we also got another reward as a finalist in Nordic Cleantech Open as one of the best 25 startups of companies. In 2012, a new business plan was started up, and Jonas also received Årets Landsbygdsinnovation in Sweden as a prize. And fantastically enough, the machine was recognized by United Nations with this, React to Climate Change in Durban. And In 2013, we had reached the point where much more capital was needed to mature this product and get it out on the market. So there was 2 new owners who came in, invested in the company, and I was hired as president in the company. And we got some support also from something called Tillväxtverket in Sweden to get an internationalization of the machine. And we started selling outside Scandinavia. So in 2014, we had an introduction in Germany, Austria, and France. Same year, we also took in some customers, some reference farmers from these countries, and we had a session in Karlskrona, Sweden, where we in detail discussed the use of the machine, because both Jonas and I said we got to take this machine one step further to make sure that it's friendly to use and people understand exactly how to use it so we could improve it. So for the next year, we came out with a new generation of comb cut, which is now on the market. So there was about more than 100 improvements that we came up with in that meeting in Karlskrona with our customers, which resulted in all these improvements. In 2015 also, I appointed a new distributor in Netherlands. We started selling much more in France, much more in Germany. And I got in contact with our first customer in Canada, a reference customer out in Alberta. And we had some farmers in Australia who actually showed their interest. So this year was the big introduction year in Canada. So actually this year Canada has been the best market for us. And we made some field tests with a 9-meter version now. The machine, our customers has a tendency to ask for wider and wider and wider and wider machines. There is, of course, a limit somewhere. I was in Canada in June at a big exhibition in Regina, something called the Farm Progress Show. And proudly enough, I can say we got a reward there as well. So we are very, very pleased now to also get this award here by the Chamber of Commerce in New York. And actually, last week, I sold the first machine in the United States. So the company is ready for new challenges, for sure. We have a good ownership of the company. They have been very willing to invest, and they've been looking very positive to the development of the company and the volumes we have been selling. And actually, our volumes have been growing very steadily. We have more than 240 machines out on the market today. Our factory capacity is ready to grow very much more, so there's no limitation there for the moment. And we have the new 9-meter version ready to sell, more or less. We will make some more tests coming year, but we think this is something for United States. That's a 30-foot machine. That's what they're asking for. And what's even more funny for us, or interesting for us, Jonas, as an inventor, he has now come up with the next step of idea to develop. Maybe not exactly this machine, but something similar. Now we're going to take the next step to take care of the insects as well, the pest that you have. So first of all, we take care of the weed, but we're now going to develop a machine also to take care of the insects that is destroying the crop. So, and I can say if that test and that development will go through the way we think, this is going to be a revolution to the industry. I think that we will have some enemies that are very powerful today that are producing chemicals for the agriculture. Okay, so during 2013 to 15, we have been introducing comb cut on the main markets in Europe. We are now established in Germany, France, Holland, UK, Austria, Finland, and the Baltic states. You should know that the Baltic states this year is our second biggest market after Canada. So now we feel that we're ready for United States. we are already in Canada, so we think the next step will be United States in next year. So what we need, first of all, we know nothing about the US. We need to map the market. We need to find some reference farmers. That's normally how we start. We sell to a reference farmer who then show the machine to other farmers in his area, and our reputation starts very good from those areas, and that's how we grow. To find a distributor after that stage is normally very, very easy because the distributors come to us and ask to be distributors. And of course, we have to look a little bit longer than that, because when we go into the US, we realize we're going to end up with bigger volumes in the future. So we need to find some form of strategical partner that can help us here in the US with local production and distribution for the future. So that's a little bit what we're aiming to find in the next year. And of course, to secure this expansion that we're in right now, we will plant a new emission. And I talked to the current owners before going here. They are ready to let somebody else in at this stage. That's all I can say. But we are planning an emission for the company because we need money now to go on with our plans in the US for sure. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions you have, I'm ready to answer.